Money makes people crazy. You know this.
I would have thought that if it was just the bill is bad, the bill is bad, the bill is bad, kill Bill, which was what Elon was doing, kill Bill, and that's where it ended. Then I would agree with you. But Elon did something that actually had me completely shocked and flabbergasted, which is
flabbergasted.
Flabbergasted.
It's his Asian accent too. His English is not so good sometimes.
When he said the real reason that they're not releasing the list, Epstein list, is because Trump is on it. Have a nice day, DJT. And under that, he said, save this.
Shots fired.
That was like, that is not a disagreement. That is pure rage.
That's personal attack.
That's personal. And there is this unspoken rule amongst men where even if you disagree, even if you sue each other, even if you bankrupt one another, there are places that amongst men you do not go. And we can talk about whether that tweet is true or not separately. But you don't go there. If it's someone in your known network, it's someone that your families know each other of, it's someone that you spend significant time with, that you have a personal relationship with, there are certain things that men do not do to other men.
Oh, it's kind of the whole idea of it's just business, right? It's just business, baby. But leave the personal outside.
You don't do that.
Yeah. That was some serious pooflinging.
And when he did that, I was like, this guy hates Trump. Because you don't do that any other reason. Meaning it's bigger than just politics.
And the really weird part is we have tweets from not more than a couple months ago where Elon's saying he loves Trump and no homo. Like, I love Trump as much as a man can love another man type of deal, right? We've seen those tweets.
I mean, okay, say you and I, we have a huge blow up for whatever reason, and we decide we hate each other.
Well, it wouldn't be over money because brother ain't making no money. So
if we hate each other to the maximum degree, to the nth degree, I'm not calling your wife and go, oh yeah, do you know what? I saw Peter with another girl. I would never do that.
Guys, no,
I would never tell the world that you.
Why are you gonna use that one? You're gonna clip this.
I would never reveal that about you.
Bad example, but not wrong. And I wouldn't call your wife and be like, oh hey, I saw Matt do XYZ.
You don't do that. And take it a step further, I would never post it to the world about you.
Oh, fair enough. Absolutely.
I would never.
Never. That's because a low blow.
Even if we hate each other, even if we have the largest, biggest falling out ever, where we're literally throwing shit at each other, punching each other in the eye.
Black eye in it.
I'm still not going to the internet, hey, let me spill all of Peter's tea to you.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
You don't do it. There is an unsaid kind of rule book. Let business be business, personal.
Even straight up criminals do not do that to each other.
Not wrong. It's the thieves code.
Honor amongst thieves.
Yeah, honor among thieves.
Even the worst people in the world do not do that to one another.
Yeah. Well, we clearly see that through the whole debacle with Epstein in the Epstein list, right? No one's ratting each other out.
Nobody.
So all of these people had underage, you know what, and who was Ghislaine actually selling it to? Nobody knows, because no one's ratting each other out.
And we are removing the fact that what he's alleging is bad, and that's still a separate discussion. It's just the idea of honor amongst thieves, honor, integrity amongst men, man to man. You don't do that.
Yeah.
And when I saw him do that, I was like, fuck. I don't think I could ever invest in anything that Elon's a part of.
Ooh. Let me ask this. So your opinions of Elon have changed?
You can't trust him.
What about your opinions about Trump? Have they changed? Because, I mean, it takes two to tango. It takes two to fight.
I think Trump is doing what we expect Trump to do. And if Elon just kept on this kill Bill, he's going to bring us to recession, fine. This is men fighting.
Yeah, and you have your own opinions. Fair enough.
But when he did that Epstein thing, I was like, dude, you can't trust him. Because imagine if you were a business partner with him. He could turn on you at any given moment and give up all the tea.
Now your idea is sinking into my
you can't trust
my
him.
noodle. You cannot trust this man anymore as a business partner.
He broke the cardinal rule of all men.
He broke the bro code.
You don't do that.
No.
And if you are so mad and so emotional that you can't control yourself in that situation, I can't trust you with my money. Right? Like you can't.
Well said. Can I clap back at you? I've said this to my kids before, is that you can never trust a man who blows up in anger. And I think you can agree with me. You can be let's put an example. You can be a leader of a company for 20 years. The moment you blow up in absolute abject anger, you have just dissolved that 20 years of trust. This man is no longer a trustworthy man because he cannot control his shit. This is what I've told my kids. And so I've told them very plainly, you cannot trust an angry man. Period, full stop. Because they're not able to control themselves.
I think people handle emotion in different ways.
Well, if you're a man, you should eat that shit. That's what a man's supposed to do.
But I think even within that, there is variance. But there is a hard rule.
Yeah.
And how you perceive how they handle their emotion, I think that's separate. But the fact that you broke a cardinal hard rule, for me, that's an absolute deal breaker.
There's a reason why there's not the housewives. There's a reason why there's not the husbands of Atlanta. It's all housewives of Atlanta. Because women, if you're going all sexist, fuck off. There's a reason why those shows are so drama-filled because women don't have that rule. You can spill the tea about, oh, you slept with her, you did this behind my back. That's great entertainment. But you've never seen a Husbands of Atlanta or Husbands of, Miami.
Well, I wouldn't watch it anyway. Well,
Yeah,
I don't watch The Housewives either, so fair.
Fair enough. That's kind of gay.
But just a quick break before this video continues. If you haven't signed up for Soju yet, go check it out, soj.oo. It's a social discussion platform that we've created. That's where the community is hanging out. Definitely worth checking out, soj.oo. Also, if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, do it now. How could you ever trust him with anything now?
You can't.
And again,
that's a good point.
I don't know what caused it. But once I saw that, I was like, dude, he's whatever happens, like he's wrong in my eyes.
If I were to put everything that you just said together, are you saying that the water well has been poisoned? Like the water hole's been poisoned, and Elon is no longer a trustable asset to the cause?
Who can trust him again?
Well, certainly if you
can't tell him anything.
If you're a businessman and you're working with millions, hundreds of millions, maybe even billions of dollars with them, I wouldn't feel very secure right now, right? Because what if he spills the tea on me?
And the claim that he made, it's a pretty big claim. Okay,
it's a claim that's on the collective conscious of the entire planet.
Yeah, say that the claim is true. Like there are better ways to handle that. And number one, like how do you even know? And how come he has access to it but we don't? Sidebar. But if it is true, there is a better way to handle that situation.
Oh, for sure.
If it is false, like how do you trust someone that's making shit up like that?
Ooh. Matt's going deep on this idea. This is very meta at the communication level. Like we haven't even gone into the details yet. This is just like bro code, like meta level philosophy of like you just don't do that shit to another man.
No, you don't do that to another man.
Especially on the Twitters.
Yeah, not like that.
Such a low bar.
Not like that.
Yeah, not like this.
Like say he knew the truth and say DJT is on a list somewhere. He could have handled that better. He's the president of the United States. You're the most powerful man in the world with one of the largest platforms, arguably. You could figure that out.
Well, we know...
you don't rage tweet that.
That's the best way of putting it. You know that they have each other's cell phones. You know that they're besties. So that they can call each other, right, on private lines, right, secure lines. So to go out in the public and to air out the dirty laundry in public is very immature. Very immature. You're not wrong.
And if you're Trump, it's really telling because does he sue Elon for defamation?
That was on the tip of my tongue. Because if it's wrong, then Trump has more than a legal case for saying, bro, you just blasted me out to hundreds of millions of people globally saying this stuff that's wrong about me. That's a big case.
But what if he doesn't sue for defamation because maybe they don't want to go into some sort of discovery? Is that telling? This is crazy. If I was Trump and I was innocent, you have to sue him. You can't not sue him. The whole world saw what he said. And in the impression of the world, if anybody would know, Elon would know.
Fair enough.
He had access to the databases. He had access to the system. He was hanging out in Mar-a-Lago every single day for the last 6 months. If anybody would know, Elon would know.
Yes.
So if that's false, you have to sue him for defamation.
That makes the blow up even more insidious and sinister. Like, bro, you were hanging out drinking $40 shots in my house, and then you're gonna throw out the dirty laundry. Like, bro, that's so low.
Hanging out with my kids.
Yeah.
Sleeping in my house.
Bro.
Like flying on my plane. All this shit. And then that's the reaction. He is not stable.
Oof. Well, we did talk that there's significant evidence that looks like he's relatively high a lot. This would be Elon.
I mean, we saw it briefly when he was doing the peanut thing. And I got flamed because I didn't want to support the fucking squirrel. Whatever.
I like the squirrel, peanut.
And then we saw it again at the end of 2024 when we were going to the H-1B debate. And Elon got really mad, and he started blocking people that were going against him, and he was getting mad. He was telling people to fuck off, and we were like, okay, this guy's not stable. We noticed it then.
Yeah.
It kind of passed, and then this.
Yeah, this is kind of the nail in the coffin. I feel like the world is waiting on pins and needles right now for how DJT is going to respond. You said he has to sue him. Let me give you another option, because I think there's more than one. Another option is prove your innocence, right? Show us the bloody list. Show us what it is. Because if you and I got in a major spat, right? And you said, Peter, I have evidence that you did X, Y, and Z. And first off, it costs money to sue people, and I don't have that much money, so I'm not going to sue you. I would, if you're going to do it online, especially at a low blow, I'd say, well, here's the receipts, Tsar, right? You're just being stupid, right? So he could sue him, or he could prove his innocence by saying, here's the list. Clearly I'm not on it, or clearly I haven't done it. What you say and what you've insinuated is such a low blow. Elon is essentially insinuating, and I think this is so low. He's insinuating that Trump is a diddler.
Yeah. He's on the list, and that's the only reason you're not seeing it. That's a wild claim to make. That's a huge claim to make.
Epstein equals diddling younger people.
Yeah.
That's the equality, right?
Maybe Elon said that because he knows that you'll never see the list.
But no, come on, Will.
I don't think we're ever seeing that list.
That's true. I don't think we're ever seeing the list.
Really?
But
this has to be the watershed. This has to be the Watergate. This has to be the moment where Trump responds in turn and says, "Here's the receipts. Here's the truth. Here's the truth social. Here's what I got." Like, this has to be the moment where he has the right recompense to say, "I'm not going to sue you because that's dumb, because you're going to go through discovery anyway, right? And it's going to have to come out at some level." I don't know, man. I think the world's waiting on pins and needles for how DJT is going to respond. How do you think he's going to respond?
I don't know. Because I think if it was policy and business related, then they would continue a public spat. They would figure it out. They'd probably do some sort of press conference together. They would make amends.
Squash
at least
the beef
publicly. Even though that they may stay separated privately, they would do a public hearing together just so that people are like, okay, this is over. Let's move on with lives.
Do you think this spat was building up over the last couple months?
Yeah, for sure.
You think so?
Their egos are too big, and it's just inevitable that they would clash.
So we've seen a pattern in Trump. You correct me if I'm wrong, but we've seen a pattern in Trump where he hates losing. He hates being seen as a loser in any type of equation. And so right now I feel like Trump is kind of in the losing position right now. Right? Yeah, he's clapping back on True Social. He's clapping back on, and saying stuff in response, but the responses are not satisfying, Matt.
Trump has been more calculated in this, I believe, because he could have matched Elon's level of emotion.
Yes, that's true.
And he could have went on a tirade like he's done in the past, but he hasn't.
All caps.
So I think that's actually him showing restraint. He knows that public perception is better for him if he shows more presidential and doesn't get into this complete poofling. But Elon, on the other hand, has been pooflinging.
Yeah, nonstop. Like,
so
every hour, something new is coming out.
I think in the long run, people will remember this moment where they will remember Trump more favorably for this moment. And if he's thinking 4D, 5D, like long-term chess, then I think he's handling it the right way.
The longer he waits for a legitimate response, the more that he's going to have knuckleheads like you and I continuing to talk about it and create theories around what it's doing. So if it's from a media megaphone perspective, the longer Trump waits, the better it is for him, actually, right? Because if he were to immediately respond with reaction and emotion, it would probably not be a good look. So I think you're wise and you're correct in saying that Trump is being restrained. He's restraining himself here. I think that's a wise idea.
Yeah, who do you think will benefit from this in the long run between the two?
Oh, that's a good question. Who will benefit most? Well, so let's go to a model.
Because the person that benefits most is actually the winner.
Well, yeah. Well, that's kind of usually how it works. But if we go to a model, and it's an unfortunate model, the model is that justice is not fair, especially for the higher levels of influencers, politicians, etc., celebrities, etc. You and I have to live by the letter of the law because we're plebs, and we have to live. And if we do something bad, we go to jail. But we know that justice is not equal at the higher echelons of power. And so the unfortunate model that I'm thinking in my mind right now is they're both going to benefit because nothing comes out of nothing when these people spat and they have so much power and money and influence that does, let's use the model for Diddy. What's going to happen to all of the cast of characters around Diddy? The answer is nothing, because all of these celebrities will still rub shoulders with terrible human beings because they have influence, power, and money. Let's be honest. There's not a single actor, sorry, but I truly believe this. There's not a single actor that is unblemished. They're all compromised. It's all ego. Like someone could go to a famous actor right now and say, hey, my brother in Christ, you're hanging out with a pedo. You're hanging out with a terrible human being. You're hanging out, and they would look at you and say, don't care. They give me access to parties. They give me access to booze. They give me access to opportunities. Like, don't care if this is a terrible person. Diddy is the perfect example of people who knew behind the scenes, behind the veil, that he was a terrible human being. And it's coming out in all of this court stuff, right? But yet still, these celebrities have no moral compass. They're still willing to hang out with Diddy. Why? Because Diddy, at the height of his game, was the man you needed to know. He was who was that famous Hollywood guy, that Weinstein. He was the Weinstein of the entertainment, right? Everybody knew, and even we had the comedians at the big award show saying, "All you terrible human beings hanging out with Weinstein, you knew he was doing all this bad stuff," and all of them are like looking in shame, and they're like, "Yeah, I know, but he gave me access to cool shit." Like, these people have no moral compass. So if I looked at the model, nothing's going to happen from nothing.
And they both win.
Isn't it? Who gets stuck with the bag?
We.
Oh, are we the bad guys again?
We are always the bag holders.
Fuck,
you
bro,
are always
not
the
like
bag
this,
holder.
man.
The people are always the bag holder. They get to spiff and fight and poofling and be drama queens on the internet.
And we still lose.
We lose. They still walk away. Elon will still be fuck you rich. Trump will still be fuck you powerful. And in the end of the day, here we are spinning in circles.
Man, Matt.
Thanks for watching the clip. If you want to see the full episode, click here. If you want to see more clips, click here.